Okay. So let's discuss the security part again. So yesterday we just started discussing the security part, right? So we'll continue the security part today, and we'll cover the other things that are pending in the security, guys. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the sorry guys, yesterday I'm not able to take the class because of this network issue. So maybe at night 11 like that it was recovered. So I'm not able to take the class due to that network issue and all. Okay. So yeah. So
Rama,
yesterday, yeah, please.
I have two queries. One
Yeah,
is about MSP files.
yes,
Second one, security.
yeah, please, Sudhakar.
Yeah, no, what I have understood, I will share with you first about MSA and MSP
Yeah,
files.
no problem. Tell me.
Yeah, first, whenever we installed SQL Server, some backend files are installed along with that SQL
Co-
Server.
Correct.
Yes, when we want to patch that SQL Server, that
Mm.
old files, whatever installed while we are installing SQL Server, will be replaced by
Yes.
these new files.
Correct. Yes.
That old files are went to backup folder, right?
Yes. Yes.
When
Correct.
we want to remove that patch
Hmm.
again, those old files
Hmm.
must replace that new files.
Correct.
If there are no old files, then
Hmm.
we have to we have to get and we have to place in C drive, right?
Not C drive. See, it's not C drive. You don't know to which location it will take the backup. In case if the files are missing, then you will get the error like MSA and MSP file missing error. So at that
Yes,
time,
yes,
it will ask you, hey, this file is missing. The original file name is so and so dot MSI. You can find this file so and so software. Like that, it will give you a complete error information. So sometimes those files you can find in regular RTM software that we will install regularly, right? SQL 2019, 2022, we'll install one copy, right? Sometimes you can find those files in the SQL Server software. Sometimes you can find those files in any of the updates like cumulative updates or service
yes, yes,
packs. So like that. So
yes,
you
yes,
have to simply give the path. Automatically it will take the file from that path and it will only,
um,
okay, keep
yes,
in
yes.
that respective location. So don't need to no need
In
to copy
yesterday's
to the
case,
C drive.
yes, yes, correct, correct. In yesterday's case, while we are removing, it is asking for old files, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, okay. Just we have given path.
Correct. So I just gave the path that was found in the SQL Server 2019 software.
SQL
So
Server.
I attached 2019 software and I gave the path. It just took the path and just replaced the file and then just continued.
Yes, yes. Actually, while you are discussing about this one, you have opened sometimes that patch file. That's why I got confusion.
No, 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 no.
Sometimes you
So
have old
whenever,
some folders and
again, I'm saying, guys, whenever you installed any SQL Server, supported files will be installed. So the supported files extensions will be .msi files. Initially, you will get most of the files as .msi files, Microsoft installer files. So when you patch the SQL Server, the old files, when you install the SQL Server, you will get some old files, right? The old files will be replaced with the new files in the service pack or cumulative update. So if the file is existed to replace, it will replace during the patching. Patching is nothing but replacing the old files with new files, guys. That's it. In the new files, it will have all the coding to fix the bugs and all, right? So when you replace if the old files are existed, it will be replaced easily during the patching window. If the old files are not existed, then it will simply throw the error like missing MSN MSP file error. So those missing files you can find in either SQL Server. So it will throw you the error, okay, information and all where you can find that missing MSA file. Sometimes it will be there in the SQL Server software, RTM copy. Sometimes it will be there in the service pack. Sometimes it will be there in the cumulative update. So you have to simply copy that update or software and go to that location and give the file name. It will take the file name and it will continue to patch. Okay, that is one way of troubleshooting. Another way is you can simply use Fix MSI tool. Fix missing MSI tool from Microsoft. It will only scan. and give the software, like from which software you can copy, give the SQL Server software. So automatically it will only copy. There is a button called fix it option or fix all option. If multiple files are missing, if one or two files are missing, guys, yesterday we discussed it, right? If one or two files are missing, you can replace it from another server with the same copy, with the same version, with the same level. If more than one or two files are missing, better you can use fix missing MSI tool. It will be easy to fix multiple missing files at a time. This error you will get for old servers. Okay, I am not saying this error you will get it regularly. Out of 100 servers, if you are patching, maybe there is a chance that you might get it for 5 to 10 servers missing MSA and MSP file errors. The two old servers. Old servers generally sometimes the files and all will be missed. So in that scenario, you might get that issue, missing MSA and MSP file issue on the old servers, guys. And yesterday we discussed how to deal with that. Okay. Yeah. What is the next question, Sudhakar?
Uh, uh, Sanmukh, actually, in yesterday's scenario, just we have just while we were removing that patch, we could not find old files, right?
Correct. Yes.
Removing that patch.
Yes.
Okay, I understood. Next, second one, coming to security part.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we created users, in our mission,
Mm-hmm.
they can log into that mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have created, login with the name of Dimitri.
Correct.
Now he is able to log into that mission. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, that the same name was found in that SQL server.
SQL
I mean,
Server.
in
Yes.
Object Explorer, we can find the
Yes.
same name in logins.
Yes.
Now he is able to log into that SQL server.
That's what. If he is there in the logins list, he can. Those who are there in the logins list, they all can log into SQL Server. Okay, those who are there in that logins list, yesterday we have seen some logins list, right? So in that
Yes.
logins list, who are there? Yesterday we have seen administrator, we have seen Dimitri, we have seen Ram, okay, SC account. All these people can log into SQL Server. But again, I am saying log into SQL Server, that doesn't give you the control, full control on the SQL Server. Again, I can restrict Dimitri at any point on any database on any object. Okay, that's what log into shopping. Entering into the shopping mall doesn't give you access to all the shops or all the rooms or all the resources in the shopping mall, right? So you need extra permissions to access the objects. He can just enter into the SQL Server. That doesn't mean he can do everything in the SQL Server.
Actually, my doubt is in you created in login users. Okay, that is in our Induce mission, right?
Yes.
But when you added that same name to logins in SQL Object Explorer,
No, that is okay. That's for testing purpose. Day before yesterday, I did some testing. So that during that time I added that login. You don't worry. Okay. So it didn't came initially. Okay. During installation, you can add him during installation. What we can do, there is a screen, authentication screen, whether you remember it or not, authentication, Windows authentication, mixed
yes, yes, yes,
authentication, and below to that, add current user screen will be there. During that
yes, yes,
screen, during the installation, if you add anyone, the account will be created in the logins list. Okay.
correct.
Later also, after installation also, whenever you want. Why? Because maybe you installed SQL Server last year. This year, someone, a new guy joined. Dimitri is a new guy. This year, he is asking a permission.
Yes.
He just joined yesterday. So you can create whenever you want. You can create an access to Dimitri and you can give access. So during the installation also you can create the accounts. After the installation also you
Okay.
can create the accounts. So Dimitri, for testing purpose, day before yesterday I added. So you don't consider that one. Okay, I'll show you how to add the logins and all. Don't worry.
Okay. You have added, right?
Yeah, I only added manually. I added for another
Okay.
testing purpose, not for the class and all.
Okay.
I did some
Uh,
feature testing, so for that purpose I added the one login.
Shanmugh, like while you are here, when we create like the account, we should add it to administrator group, or it will be fine if we keep it as it is.
Generally, DBA should be part of local administrators, Josh. So, but we don't add DBAs into the local administrators. Why? Because you cannot claim that you are an administrator. You cannot Okay, why? Because if everyone is able to add them into local administrators, what is the use of the Windows admin then, right? So you cannot claim that you're an administrator. You cannot get the access of administrator. Okay, someone means from Windows team. If you request, Windows team will add you into the local administrators group. But as a DBA, you should be part of local administrators group. Then only you can perform some of the activities like backups, restores, deleting the files, cleaning, maintenance kind of stuff. Okay, all the DBAs should be part of local administrators. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, don't worry, I'll show you how to add the local administrators and all. Okay. You don't worry. We have separate class on that.
Shanmukh, last question.
Yeah, please, Sudhakar.
Yesterday, I mean, in organization, there may be 1,000 developers. They can connect from SQL mode.
Yes.
Those 1,000 developers are SQL developers or app developers?
See, whether they
To
are
hear, I
SQL
used to is
developers,
what developer means. Which developer?
any developer is a developer. Who is developer in the sense, don't think only developer. Anyone who is trying to access the SQL server, user. I will use a word called user. The user can be a developer, user can be any person who is trying to access the database. Just for the example, I use the word developer.
Okay.
Okay. So developer in the sense user. That user is an app
Okay.
developer, that user is a database developer, whoever it is. Like if they are seeking for the access on the database, he is a user.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, guys? Anyone tried removing the patch? What is the status of the tracker? I still see creating tables, patching, and removing the patch. Who did that? Suresh, any issues you faced, Suresh, while removing the patching? Ajay, Deepak, very good. Manju, very good. Ram, Shalem, very good. And Chandana, good. And that's it, I guess. Yeah. I hope everyone got access to this tracker. Kasturi, Balaji, and Satish. Okay.
Yes, we got.
Yeah, okay. So only 4 or 5 people tried removing the patch yesterday. So any issues you faced, guys, like me? Or is it smooth?
I faced the same issue.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Deepak, you didn't face any issue.
Yeah, I faced the same issue that you have faced.
Okay,
And
okay.
my, yeah,
So you replaced the file and it was successful, right?
right. Yeah. Yes.
Very good. So yeah, Satish, you didn't face any issue.
No, as of now, I haven't tried. Like I'm in the traveling yesterday, so I didn't try it. So I
Okay.
will confirm you once it is done. Okay.
Then why its status change it to done? Satish, yeah. No, Satish status is not changed. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so guys, try patching the SQL server. Try removing the patch from SQL server. Very important. Both the tasks are very, very important. And believe me, you will enjoy patching the SQL server. It's very easy. Simply you have to download and copy the patch file to the server, and you can just open the setup file with run as administrator. Next, select the instance. Next, patch it. And again, removing the patch also. Just make sure, okay, you can open control panel with add or remove programs, and you can go to turn Windows features. What is the shortcut to open add or remove programs, guys? What is it?
Appwize.cpl.
App.cpl.
Appwiz.cpl, appwiz, appwiz.cpl is the shortcut. Okay, so you can go to the control panel, and there left side you can see add or what is that? Not
Installed
add or
feature.
remove. Yeah, view installed
Installed.
updates. View installed updates. You can see that feature in the left side. And if you click on that, you can see what kind of updates are installed. And if you double click on that, you will get a window. Next. Select the instance that you want to remove the patch. Next, and then remove the patch. So very easy to manage. Very easy to patch. Very easy to remove the patch, guys. You will get the missing MSI, MSPD. You might get that error. So you will have some experience in dealing with the errors, and also just complete it, guys. Okay, so I want to see tomorrow or by today evening this at least patching and remove patching. There is no dependency. You can go ahead and you can do that, guys. No need to, of course, you have to install SQL Server. After that, you can directly go ahead and you can patch it, and you can remove the patch also. Okay, by evening, I want to see all this, the whole column. Or Balaji, your video is started. Okay, done. Okay, these two columns should be, what is this color, guys? What is this color? Blue? Light blue?
Dark blue.
Okay, so just I want to see these two. Okay, 9 and 10th field should be okay. Done, guys. So in case if you stuck at any point, ping me, no issues. Okay. So let's continue the security discussion. So again, yesterday we discussed it, right? What is authentication, authorization, authentication in the sense process of verifying the username and password is called authentication. Authorization in the sense, okay, having access on some resources is called authorization. And the principal who is accessing the resources is called principal. And securable, what kind of resources he is accessing is called securable. Okay. And login and user, we'll discuss about the login and user. Listen carefully, this is very important part in the security. Okay. So now this is my SQL Windows machine. Imagine this is my Windows machine. Okay, this is my Windows machine. And this is my SQL server in the Windows machine. Okay, this is my SQL server in the Windows machine. Right. Okay. So now there is a database in this SQL server. Database in this SQL server. Okay. Just now we discussed one point that having access on SQL server doesn't mean that you have full control on SQL server. Correct? Correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Connecting to the SQL server, that doesn't give you full control on the SQL server. I can restrict you at any point. I can restrict you at database level. I can restrict you at a table level. I can restrict you at any object level. Okay. So I can restrict as a DBA, that is our responsibility, guys. As a DBA, that is our responsibility. We can restrict the users at any point. We can restrict them. We can deny them. Okay. So we can, it's completely based on their requirements only, we'll give the access. But connecting to the SQL server, that doesn't mean they can do everything. Okay. Now, imagine there is a login. Okay. So in case if it is Windows authentication, how it will work. In case if it is SQL authentication, how it will work. Yesterday we discussed. So if it is Windows authentication, you have to go to the Windows server. You have to log into the Windows server. You have to open SSMS in the Windows server, and you can give the server name, and it will show you, okay, Windows authentication in the connect screen. You can see the server name and all, and in the authentication mode, you can choose Windows authentication, and then you can click on connect button, which will help you to connect to the SQL server if your entry is there in the SQL server. That is one thing. It don't ask the password. If you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask the password. Why? Why it don't ask the password? If you choose
Because
Windows,
you already entered in the Windows.
yes, like while connecting to the server, I entered one password, right? While connecting to the server, I entered one password. So OS level, I'm a successfully verified user, and one entry is created for me in the SQL server. So OS level, you are already a verified user, and already an entry is created for you in the SQL server. So both cases are okay. What I can say, both cases are um, allowing, I mean to say, both cases are um, completing in the sense, okay, both cases are, we are achieving both the cases. So in that scenario, you can able to connect to the SQL server. Again, connecting to the Windows server will not give access to the SQL server. Windows team can connect to the Windows server, network team can connect to the Windows server, and storage team can connect to the Windows server, and some other maintenance team also can connect to the SQL server. They can connect to the Windows, I mean to say, they can connect to the Windows server. That doesn't mean you can connect to the SQL server. Having access on Windows server, that doesn't give you access on the SQL server. What is the minimum criteria, guys? If it is Windows authentication, what is the minimum criteria? You should be part of the Windows server. In the yesterday we have seen, right? In the local users manager, in the local user manager, okay, LUSR manager. So in the local users list, you should be part of it. So those who are all the part of this local users, they can first access the Windows server. The same security concept, guys. If you are part of the SQL server logins list, you can connect to SQL server. If you are part of the Windows Server users list, you can connect to the Windows Server. So if you want to achieve Windows authentication login, there are two main criterias. What are those two main criterias, guys? You should be part of the Windows Server users section. One criteria. Second one,
You should be user at under SQL server
yeah,
also.
yeah. So you should be part of the login section in the SQL Server. Both cases has to be achieved. Then only you can connect to the SQL Server in Windows authentication. In Windows authentication, you should be part of the Windows users machine level users section, and you should be also part of the SQL Server's logins list. So guys, user and login both are almost same. Windows level will connect will call it as a user. SQL level will call it as a login, guys. Okay, we'll call it as a login, right? So let me show you that. Let me connect to this. Let's click on connect button, and then you can see database engine and the server name, and finally you can see authentication. So there you can see Windows authentication. But if you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask you any type of password and all. Why? Why? Because in the OS level, you have already successfully verified login, I mean to say user, and in the SQL also, you have an account in the SQL server. See here, it is not asking the username and password. That doesn't mean it is not taking. Is it clear, guys? If you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask you the username and password. That doesn't mean it is not taking username and password. No, you can see here username is already selected administrator. Why? I have a quick question for all of you guys. Instead of administrator, here I want to see Dimitri. How can I see that? How can I see that? Very simple question. Here you can see administrator, right? Computer name. This is my computer name, server name. You can see here.
Yeah, you will change it to SQL authentication.
I think you need to change the computer name.
Computer name. Okay. SQL authentication. Yes, Ade. Next. And I have to give Dimitri name here.
Yes.
Or if you log in with the instance of Dimitri, will it not show automatically Dimitri here?
Instance in the sense.
When you log into the computer.
Very good. Very good. Correct. As how I got
automatically will pick it up, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I use administrator account to log into this Windows server.
Log
See, what is my account name? If you keep your cursor here, you can see what is my account name.
Administrator.
Administrator opened SSMS, so that's why you can see administrator here. If Dimitri log into this machine and if you open SSMS with his own credentials, you can see his name here. Ade, so it's wrong, completely wrong. If you choose SQL authentication and give Dimitri name here,
So,
no.
Exactly.
No.
In this instance,
authentication.
Shanmugh, even if Dimitri changes from administrator, if Dimitri changes to Dimitri, SQL Server will not allow that authentication to go through, isn't it?
Yes, it won't allow. It won't allow. Windows is Windows guy is a Windows guy. SQL guy is a SQL guy only. If you are a Windows guy, even though you are a sysadmin, why? Because very simple. I'll show you. See here. Let me connect to this. Okay. I'm just connecting to the SQL server. Now, if you create a SQL login, his name will be just Dimitri. If it is a Windows login, his name will be computer name / Dimitri. So names are not matching, right? So even though Dimitri account is there in this Windows machine, while connecting, if he selected SQL authentication and if he is giving his name Dimitri, it won't allow. It don't take it. It will simply throw you the error. Okay, see here, Dimitri, I'm just giving. Okay, Dimitri, I'm giving. And let me open this logins list. Okay, and this is the name, right? Control C. And I'm just connecting again with this name, SQL authentication. And I'm just giving his password. While creating the user, I just created one password. I'm giving that password. It don't allow you guys. It will simply throw you the error 18456. Don't allow you. Okay, why? Because your account is created as a Windows login, but you are using SQL login to enter into the SQL server, which is wrong completely. So you can ask, hey Shanmukh, the name is matching, right? Why it is not allowing? No. Why? Because you are supposed to enter as a Windows guy. You are entering as a SQL login. So which is not going to allow you. Is it clear, guys, everyone? Okay. So in this scenario, what Dimitri has to do, either Dimitri has to log into this computer using his name and he can give his credentials. That is one way. There is another way also there. What is the another way? Anyone? Can anyone tell me? Those who are working? Those who are working. Can anyone tell me? Here I want to open this application. Any application, not only SQL Server, any application I want to open with one username, specific username. What option we have? I guess we have one
Any
Windows.
RDP into that?
No, without RDP, we can still do that. RDP option is there, but without RDP.
Give the administration permissions to Dimitri.
No, no,
Then
no,
we go for
no, no, no. I want to open one application with one specific user. How can I do that? I'm giving the answer itself. I want to open this application SSMS with a specific user. How to do that?
We need to add logins, no, sir?
Opening, at least not connecting to the SQL server. First of all, I want to open it with a specific user. How to do that?
Maybe
Run
right
as
click on that
administrator.
user and
Sorry, Deepak.
Run as an administrator.
You are closer to the
We
answer.
have
You are closer to the answer. Yes,
we
Pallavi.
have
We have
to
to
add
log in with that first.
Yes, Pallavi, you are saying something.
service account we have to add, I think.
No. See, no need to break your heads, guys. Very simple. I want to open this application. I am not saying I want to connect to the SQL server. No, I just want to open this. See, when I open this, I just logged into the administrator account. I opened SSMS. So by default, I got administrator here. In the same way, if I want to get Dimitri, I can do in two ways. One is I can log off from this server. I can log in as a Dimitri into the Windows server and I can open the SSMS so I can get Dimitri here. That is one way. There is a second way also. Without logging off, I can still get the Dimitri name here without changing the authentication.
Switching the account on the Windows machine.
How? The same. Balaji, switching means same. I have to log off and I have to log in. You are using different word. That's it.
Server name,
You know the
computer name,
answer.
and with
No, Manju, no. Very simple, guys. See, I can open any application with run as
Administrator.
There is another option also, run as. Can anyone tell me that option?
Other user.
Very good. Run as different user. Okay, how to do that? Okay, so what we can do, go to this SSMS. If you right click, you can see, okay, more. In that you can see run as different user. Okay, if you don't see this run as different user, what you can do, hold the shift button. Keep holding the shift button and right click. You can see different. See, now in this scenario, how many options you can see? Total 4, right? So now see how many options you can see now. I'm just right clicking on this. Okay, and shift plus right click, just shift plus right click. Okay, and more. Here it is giving only few options. Let's do one thing. Okay, like this also you can do. If you see here, how many options you can see? Right click, only 4, right? Now I'm just holding shift button plus right click. See how many options I can see? Hold the shift button and then right click. See, run as different user. Now give Dimitri username and password here. Okay. I don't want to confuse you guys. Sometimes we'll use the application, we'll open the application with run as different user also. So that's why I'm explaining all these things. Sometimes we should be able to open the application with the different users. Okay, so for that purpose, you should know how to open it. Sometimes you will be in call with the manager. Sometimes he'll ask you, hey, Balaji, please open this SSMS with run as different user. So if you don't know how to open with run as different user, then it will be a trouble, right? So that's why sometimes we'll use this option. Generally, we don't use Dimitri account. Dimitri only will be login. Dimitri use his own account to log into the Windows machine. But sometimes we might use different account also. That can be a service account, that can be some other account. So in that scenario, you can use this trick, guys. Without logging off from the server, you can open any application with run as different user also. Okay, guys, is it clear? Okay, I'll show you. It
Yes.
will load now. I'll show you. It will load now. But don't change directly here. If you change the authentication and if you give Dimitri and password, no, that is not a Windows login. That comes under SQL login. There is no SQL login for Dimitri. Only Windows login is there for Dimitri. Okay. I'll tell you how to differentiate which one is SQL login, which one is Windows login, and I'll see here, guys. Now if I cancel and again if I click connect button again, I'll get Dimitri only. Okay, he can connect now. He can connect now. Earlier, he cannot able to connect if you choose SQL authentication. See here, when you expand, you can see Dimitri name here. See, Dimitri. Who connected to the SQL server? Dimitri connected to the SQL server. How? I just used his credentials. This is how you can open any application with run as different user, guys. Okay. This is administrator. You can see here. This is administrator. This is Dimitri. There are two different connections. Are we good, guys? How to open any application? Any application, not only SSMS. Any application you can use run as different user option. Okay.
Shanmu,
Yes, yes, please.
you have connected with Dimitri name with his credential. And these credential and username and password. What you have used whenever you have created username, you have
Yes,
you
I
have
give
given
one
some password, right?
Yes, I use that password. When I create, see
Oh,
here while creating a Dimitri user, okay, I give one
yes, yes,
password. Okay, so that password
yes.
I just use it to connect to the SSMS.
Okay, Shanmukh, like if you are like a new user here, and then if I am going to connect with Windows, that's gonna work?
That will work. Again, you have to satisfy two conditions. What are those two conditions? You should be
I
part
think
of
the
this
okay.
list and you should be part of this list. If you are part
Oh,
of both the lists as a Windows login, you can log into this SQL server. Okay, Josh?
okay.
Yeah. Fine, guys. So now let's come into the concept. Okay. So now imagine there is a login. Okay. Imagine there is a login, guys. If you give access to this login, okay, as of now, this is under Windows machine. Okay, guys, Windows level will call it as users. That's it. Windows machine or Windows server. You can just name it as like this. And this is your SQL server. Okay, this is your SQL server. Guys, don't worry at all. Again, there is a brief security session. I'll simply explain a 15 minutes concept on security, what we will do as a DBS from security side. I'll explain briefly, nothing to worry. Okay, try to concentrate so that any login issues are there, you can easily troubleshoot it. But if you are not getting, nothing to worry. Again, there is a 15-minute session on security. Crispy, just I'll tell you what we will do, how to create logins, how to give access on database, how to give access on tables. Everything will be discussed again. Okay, don't worry, guys. Right now, Windows level will call any user. See, he's this guy. Control Z. To bring forward. Okay, chalo, no issues. Okay. So this is Windows level users list, guys. Okay, this is Windows level users list. So when this guy can connect to this, for example, imagine this is Dimitri only. Dimitri now, can he connect to the server? Can Dimitri connect to the server now? Tell me, guys. Now, can Dimitri connect to the server?
No.
See the diagram and tell me the answer.
No.
No. Why?
No.
No. Because it is not authorized
Uh,
with Windows.
Very good.
uh,
Dimitri is not part of this list. Okay. What is this list, guys? Users list. Okay,
Windows.
the Windows level. So Dimitri is not part of the users list, so he cannot connect to this Windows machine now. Okay. Now I just created an account to Dimitri in this users list. Can he connect to the Windows server now?
Yes.
Yes. Guys, tell me the
Yes.
answer. Can he connect to the Windows server now? Everyone?
Yes, he can.
Yes,
Yes.
he can. Now, can he connect to the SQL server? Can Dimitri connect to the SQL server?
Yes, he can.
Yes.
Yes.
I need
No,
answers
he's
from
No,
everyone.
no,
Dimitri,
no,
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 He's
no,
not a
no,
Dimitri is
user
not a
in the
part of
SQL
the
server,
SQL
right?
server.
no. He should be added in the
Yes,
SQL
sir.
server.
No. Yes, sir. No.
No, he should
No.
have a
No.
login in SQL server first.
Very good. Okay. He is not part of the SQL servers list. Okay. He is not part of the SQL servers logins list. So he cannot connect to the SQL server. Okay. That should be very clear, guys. That should be clear. Okay. If I just create any account to Dimitri here in the SQL server, now can Dimitri log into the SQL server now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You
Yes,
can
he
see
can.
these boundaries and all. You can see these boundaries and you can just tell me the answer. Now he is a part of the SQL logins list. Guys, listen carefully. SQL side will call it as a login. Windows side will call it as a user. That's it. Okay. SQL side will call it as a login. Windows side will call it as a user. Okay. Now, till now, everyone, is it clear, guys? Everyone, is it clear, everyone, till now?
Yes.
Fine. So now listen carefully. Now listen carefully. Entering into the SQL server that doesn't give you access to the all the databases. This is clear. Dimitri is part of the SQL server. Now he can connect to the SQL server. That's true, but that doesn't mean he is having full access on the SQL server. Okay? Okay, guys. If he is a sysadmin in the SQL server level, he can do whatever he wants. I'll tell you what is sysadmin and all. Full rights. Who are having full rights, he is called sysadmin. Okay. Currently, I just create an account to Dimitri. That doesn't mean Dimitri can do anything. See here, I'll show you the demo also. Dimitri is connected, right? This is his account. Let me show you. Let me try to expand this database. Okay, this is not the one. We have to connect to SQL 2019. That is 2022. Okay, right. Now, see here, Dimitri connected, right? So now in SQL 2019, we have these many databases. Dimitri is trying to access this database. How you can access the database generally? By just expanding, you can access the database, right? You can see the tables and all. See, this is administrator. See here, always while changing the applications, see the accounts. Okay, in the security, you have to concentrate on this place especially. Now administrator is trying to access database. See, he is able to access the database and he can see all the tables. Okay, he can see all the tables. These are all the tables, right? So now the same, if you go to Dimitri account, he's trying to access this database. Oh, come on. I'm sorry for that, guys. Oh, 1 minute. I don't want to again confuse. Dimitri is having access. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry at all.
We gave access.
Yeah, I gave the access last time when I'm practicing. Okay, not security, there is a separate concept. Forget about all these things. Forget about all these things. You don't worry. Okay, what I did as of now, you don't worry. I'll show you in the next class what I did now. Okay, just refresh it now. Earlier, I gave sysadmin access to him, so that's why he's able to access. Right now, see here. Now he's trying to access this database. Now, can he access the database? No. See, administrator can access the database. See, administrator can expand any database. Okay, he can access IPL, he can see the tables, everything he can see. Why? He's an administrator. He's having sysadmin permissions. Okay, administrator. If you want, you can see here. Double click on administrator login. Go to server roles. You can see he's a sysadmin. So he can do whatever he want. But Dimitri is not a sysadmin. He cannot do everything he want. Okay, so that's what I mean to say. Connecting to the SQL server that doesn't give you access to all the resources. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear, everyone? I have to again explicitly, I have to give the access to Dimitri based on his roles and responsibilities in the job. Then only Dimitri can access the resources. Again, I'm saying, again, I'm repeating, connecting to the SQL server doesn't give you the full control on the SQL server. Again, I can restrict Dimitri on server level. I can restrict Dimitri on database level. I can restrict Dimitri on object level. Okay, is it clear, guys, everyone? Right, chalo. Now, let me extend this concept. So, Dimitri is part of logins list, so he can able to connect to the SQL server. Can he able to connect to the database, guys?
No.
No, right?
No.
No, it was failed. So, if he wants to connect to the database, what we have to do? We have to
You
give,
have to enable him on that database.
yes, I have to give access to Dimitri on this particular database, guys. What I have to do? I have to give access to Dimitri on this particular database. Then only he can connect to the database. Imagine this is sales database or Dell production database. Dell production database. Okay. Imagine this is Dell production database. Control Z, Control B. Okay. So, which is there in our SQL server currently. So now if Dimitri wants to access this database, I have to give access to Dimitri on this database. What I have to do, guys? I have to give access to Dimitri on this database. Chalo. Okay, so if I give the access, what will happen? If I give the access, what will happen?
We'll use that particular data.
What? He can, yeah, he can connect to that particular database, correct. How he can connect? Listen carefully. If I give access to Dimitri on this database, a small representative will be created in the database on behalf of Dimitri login. He is called Dimitri user. Okay, listen carefully, guys. Logins by default, they cannot enter into the SQL server. Logins by default, they cannot log into the database. I mean to say, logins by default, they cannot connect to the databases. On behalf of login, one user will be created. This user will help this login to connect to the database, guys. Are you getting the point, guys? Again, I am saying very simple. When I create the login, he can just connect to the SQL server. He cannot access any of the database. When I gave the access to this login on any database, a user will be created on behalf of the login. This user is called database level user. This is Windows machine level user. This is SQL server level login. This is database level user. Don't get confused, guys, here. Lot of terminologies will use. Okay, guys, is it clear? Again, I'm repeating. When I gave access to this login on any database, on behalf of this login, one representative will be created in that database. That representative will help to read the data from this database, write the data to this database. That representative name is called database level user.
Login.
User. See, if you go to any database, there is a separate section. Okay, there is a separate section called security section. If you expand security, you can see users list. See here. I gave access to Ram on this database. So that's why Ram account is created again as a user. Are you getting the point, guys? You want me to repeat again? Again, I'll repeat. I'm happy to repeat. So when I create login, he can just connect to the SQL server, but he cannot access any of the databases by default. But if I give access to this login on any database, a small representative will be created on behalf of this login. Why? Because logins cannot enter into the database. On behalf of login, one representative will be there. That representative will help to read the data from the database, write the data to the database, guys. Is it clear now? This username is called Dimitri user. He is Dimitri login, right? I gave access to Dimitri login on this Dell production database. So Dimitri user will be created, guys. So what is this relationship called? What is this relationship called? It's a login, and based on his login, he is getting a user. What is this relationship called?
Is a one-to-one relationship?
Parent and child relationship.
Parent and child, yeah.
Based on this, he is a father, he is a child. Based on this login, This child got created in the database. This is called parent and child relation. It should be clear, guys. This concept should be clear. Otherwise, there is a concept called orphan users. You should be able to understand. If this is clear, that you can easily understand. Okay. Now someone deleted Dimitri login. Parent got deleted. What is this user called?
Orphan.
If there is no parent, what is the user called? Orphan. 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 That
Orphan
is,
user.
yeah, to understand that concept, you should be good at this concept, guys. Is it clear now, everyone?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear?
Yes,
Very
sir.
simple point. I'll tell you two important points. If one is, if you want to connect to the SQL server, you should be part of the SQL server logins list. That is one point. If anyone wants to connect, I told you yesterday, even though you are a company CEO, machine don't know that you are a CEO, whether your account is there or not in this list. Hey boss, I'll allow all these people and I don't allow if you are a different person, if you are not there in this list. Okay, those who are there in this logins list, they only can connect to the SQL server. This is clear, right, everyone? Everyone, this is clear. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Next
So why
point.
did you disable? Why did you disable SA?
That I'll tell you. By default, you will get a okay, SA will be disabled by default. That you can do during the installation or after the installation also you can enable it. Okay, not an issue. I'll discuss. I'll discuss. Okay. Fine. So one important point is, okay, if you are part of this logins list, then only you can connect to this SQL server. That is one important point. Second important point, if even though you are part of this logins list, that doesn't mean you have full control on the SQL server. I can still restrict you based on your roles and responsibilities in the job. So if you are a normal login, you can connect to the SQL server, but you cannot access any of the databases. Clear, guys? Is this point clear? Even though you are part of this logins list, if you are in normal login, if you don't have any permissions, you can connect to SQL server, but you cannot access any of the resources. Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Right. Now, if I gave access to any login on any database, then only that login can access that database. Okay, then only that login can access the database. Is it clear? Is this point clear, everyone? This is the third point. Fourth point, when I gave access to any login on any database, what will happen, guys? What will happen?
The user, he creates a user.
Yes, one user will be created on behalf of that login. What will happen? One user will be created in that database on behalf of that login. So login cannot enter into the database directly. On behalf of login, one representative will be created in the database to perform read and write operations. Is it clear, guys? Everyone?
Yes.
Right. Any questions, guys?
Shanmugh, I have a question on this concept of parent and child relationship that you mentioned.
Okay.
Now, so considering your parent level or connection or your parent level authorization is your Windows authorization. Now, your child level authorization is your SQL Server authorization, which basically means as a Windows user, you can log into the machine. And considering you can log into the machine and you have access to SQL Server also, you can log into the SQL Server. Now, you mentioned that if I take off the Windows machine access or authorization, obviously my parent level authorization is taken away. So the SQL level authorization or SQL level user has become an orphan user. The question is, how is he going to, this is my doubt, how is he going to be able to connect to the SQL server which is inside the Windows machine? And how valid is that orphan user at all? Because unless I'm able to log into the machine, how will I be able to connect to the SQL server, irrespective of what name do I give for my user? Does that make sense?
No.
See
No.
this on your screen, you have Windows machine
Let me clear you. Let me clear you, Shibin. Okay, let me clear you. I told you in 2 ways we can connect to the SQL server. What are those 2 ways? Yesterday we discussed.
One you can
connect to the Windows server directly, and from there you can open SSMS, and from there you can connect to the SQL server if you are part of the logins list. This is clear, right? This is one way. What is that way called? What is that way called? Windows authentication. You are logging into the Windows server. You are logging into the Windows server, and then you are connecting to the SQL server in that Windows server. That is called Windows authentication. Now the second way. What is the second way?
That you can connect to the SQL server directly as a user.
So is this user, whatever you can see here, is this person part of this Windows server?
No, he is not. He is an orphan.
No, not orphan. Forget about orphan. Forget about orphan. No, that is different. See, I just gave you one word. I just used one word called orphan. Okay, that is different. Forget about orphan for now. So means if you are part of Windows server and if your account is there, okay, both are matching. You can connect to the SQL server using Windows authentication. There is another way of connecting to the SQL server also. What is that? SQL authentication. SQL authentication means you should not be part of the Windows server. You don't see this kind of user in this Windows machine. Only this kind of user only you can see. So even though you are not part of the Windows server, still you should be able to connect using SQL authentication. Right? You are mixing both. You are mixing both. You are saying Windows authentication also should be part of Windows user. SQL login also should be part of Windows user. Then what is the use of SQL authentication?
Got it. I got it.
Okay. So SQL login shouldn't be part of the Windows machine. That's why you don't see this guy here in this list outside
in the
of the
user. Windows
so
users.
either this guy who is part of the Windows machine can connect to the SQL server, or not everyone can be part of Windows machine, right? If you have 1,000 users, 10,000 users and all, not everyone you can accommodate in one Windows machine. So what we can do? You can be part of a domain user, but still you can connect to SQL server if your account is created.
Got it.
Okay. Based on this account, which is there in the Windows level, I am creating this login. Okay. This is Dimitri Windows user. This is Dimitri SQL login. If I want to create Dimitri SQL login, I should create Windows Dimitri user. Okay. Okay. If I want to create Dimitri login in the SQL server, I should create Dimitri user in the Windows level. Without Dimitri user, how can I create Dimitri login? Not possible, right? So is it clear now whether your question is valid or not? Is it clear now?
Yeah, I got it.
Forget about orphan user. I'll explain again. Orphan user will come into the picture when you enter into the database level security. Okay.
Okay.
Guys, is it clear? Any questions? Please let me know. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Don't hesitate to ask, guys.
Sharmukh, like I have one doubt here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, the parent-child relationship, the mapping, like we have one user and then we can have like multiple database users, right?
Very good question. Okay, so now if you have second database, okay, let me extend this concept. Now if I second database, if Dimitri is having access on this second database also, now one more Dimitri will be created in the second database. Concept is same. It won't be changed.
Okay.
So like that, if you have 100 database, if Dimitri is having access on all 100 databases, on all 100 database, Dimitri database level user will be created. Is it clear? Means one parent, two children here.
Okay. Okay. See.
If Dimitri is having access on 100 databases, 100 Dimitri users will be created. One Dimitri login, 100 Dimitri users on 100 databases. Is it clear?
Okay. That means
Like
each it's on its own like permission level.
Correct.
For example, Dimitri can have like read write or sysadmin, so different like grammar access like in different.
Correct.
Okay.
So like that, how many users maximum I can create, guys? Now tell me. Now you know the answer. How many maximum users I can create?
32,567.
Why?
32,000 something.
Why?
Magic number.
Magic number. What is the reason? You know the answer right now. If I gave access to Dimitri on two databases, two Dimitri is created. If I gave access to Dimitri on 100 databases, 100 Dimitri is created. Like that. Why 32,767?
It's multiplied by 2 or like?
No.
Microsoft designed like that.
Nothing like that, nothing. How many databases I can create, guys? How many maximum databases I can create?
32,000.
Okay.
Each database, one user, 32,667 databases, 32,767 maximum users I can create.
Okay.
Very simple. No need to like break your heads and all, okay? If I give access to Dimitri on one database, one Dimitri user will be created. This is Dimitri parent and this is Dimitri child. Like that, if I give access to Dimitri on all the databases that SQL Server is supporting, so SQL Server will support 32,767 databases. If I gave access to Dimitri on all the databases, 32,767 users will be created for one login. Clear?
Got it. Clear, yeah. So do you come to the orphan scenario? Like in what scenarios like orphan will be created?
I'll tell you. There is a separate concept during migration. I'll tell you in what scenario we'll get orphans, how to deal with the orphans, how to see the orphans, how to fix the orphans. It's an important interview question, and in the organizations also regularly will handle this. So there is a separate concept on orphan. I just introduced the word called orphan. That's it. As of now, we didn't discuss.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Any other questions, guys?
No. Sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, you said after that the user, another user is into the SQL Server. Can we see the list of all the database? Means we are not giving them access, but can we see all the list of databases which
we can see at any point. SP_helpDB will give you the list of all the databases. Okay, you can
so the another user, can he see the list?
Okay, he can see the see here Dimitri doesn't have access, but still he is able to see all the database names, right?
But sir, while creating these database, we not given any password. Why he can't access?
Again, you are missing the base concept. If it is Windows login, it don't ask the password. See, very simple thing. While opening this SSMS, I gave Dimitri user and Dimitri password, right? While opening this SSMS with run as different user, okay, I gave Dimitri user and Dimitri password, right? So here it was already successfully verified in the OS level. So that's why it is not asking password. Don't think that it is not taking password. It is not asking password. That's it. There is a difference between taking and asking. It is taking when you are completing this authentication. Okay. So while opening the application, while connecting to the Windows server, it's already verified that you are a successfully verified user. That's why it is allowing you to connect to the SQL server. It is not asking. That doesn't mean without password Dimitri is able to connect. Okay. It is internally, it's already verified. Dimitri is already verified. So that's why it is not asking password. Okay.
Shanmukh?
Yes, please.
Suppose the SQL login have 5 permission into the database. So when the child has been created, so does that inherit all the permission?
I'm not getting your question. If SQL login is having 5 permissions.
Yeah, suppose the SQL login have some 5 permissions, right? Read, write, something.
Okay.
So when you provide the database access to that login, the automatically one user is created behalf of SQL login. So is that user have all the permission by default, which is having the login?
No. By default, you don't see. That's what I'll tell you during the database level security. I'll tell you. See, when you create the database, when you create the login, let me show you. I'll just give you a brief. Okay, so you are saying he's having 5 permissions. Okay, you should be specific on which resource he is having 5 permissions. On which resource? Correct? That is a valid question, right? 5 permissions. That's okay. Read, write, something. I have around 6 databases or 5 databases here. On which database he is having 5 permissions? Is my question valid?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell
On
me
this
any
particular
database.
database,
Tell
suppose
me. So on the
we have a adventure work
no,
database.
Okay.
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 And
So
we
you
have a login called RAM of that database.
okay, done. So you are saying the login is having 5 permissions on AdventureWorks database, correct?
Yeah.
Now what is your question?
So my question is, you in a previous diagram, you have picturized the one login can have multiple users.
Correct.
For the database level.
Correct.
So the login have 5 permission. So is that all the other user having the same permission?
No.
Other user in the sense, can you just go to the previous diagram?
I got your point. I got your point. See, now itself you said, okay, Dimitri is having 5 permissions on AdventureWorks. Means you are clear with your statement. So he is having 5 permissions, okay? And when you give access to Dimitri on AdventureWorks, a Dimitri user will be created here in the user
Right.
sheet. Okay?
Right.
That user only will have access on AdventureWorks. If Dimitri same user is created in Dell production, it shouldn't be same as AdventureWorks permissions. Okay, so on AdventureWorks, Dimitri user can have different permissions. On Dell production, Dimitri can have different permissions.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I'll show you. See, for example, if you go to give the access, I'm just briefing, guys. Don't worry. Again, I'll show you user mapping. Okay, I have to map the user to which database and all. Okay, see here. If you want read and write access, I can give read and write access like this. But I didn't give read and write access to Dell production, right? If you want to give read and write access, again, I have to select this. You can, if you want only data reader, you can give only data reader. Okay. Right? I'll explain what is data reader, writer, what it will do, everything I'll explain, guys. Don't worry. So if one login is having access on 5 databases, 5 different users will be created. 5 different users can have 5 different permissions, not 5. Okay, different permissions. Okay, guys, clear? Any questions, any doubts on this?
So you said one login can have about 30.
2,767.
Okay, let's say 2,700 users. Why?
Why? Yeah.
What concept is what concept is behind that?
I'll give one example. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm just hearing that for the first time. So
That's okay. That's okay. I'll give normal example only. Don't take me wrong. Okay. If one guy married one girl, he'll get one child. One or n number of child. That is different. Okay. One child. If you marry another girl, another child. If you marry 32,767 girls, 32,767 users will get it. I hope it's clear.
But what will happen to the wives then in that case?
That you have to
so in other words, it has to be mapped to all these users.
Correct. So if I give access to this guy,
it's not automatic.
No. Why it is automatic? We have to map. It shouldn't be automatic. It shouldn't be automatic. You have to map. You have to map. If it is automatic, then as a DBA, we don't need to do anything. We can just go to the home and we can watch the series matches and all. No, you should be as a DBA. You have to give access to this guy on any database. That is your work. Okay, when you give access to this guy on this database, one user is created. When you give access to this guy on this database, again one more user will be created. So you means who? The DBA has to give access. When you give access, then only the user will be created. Okay, if you don't give access, the user won't be created.
Oh, got you. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes.
So when you give access, automatically the user is created.
Correct. Why? Because
Makes
internally you're giving access to the user. I told you, right,
Right.
logins cannot enter into the database. On behalf of logins, users will be there in the database to help the logins. So that's why when you give access to any login on any database, automatically a user will be created. So if you give the access, it will be created. If you don't give, it won't be created.
So it's not as if I'm going to create the user manually.
No. We don't create any user. No, we'll simply give the access that will create the user.
Right. I got you. Thank you.
No problem. Guys, are we good on this part, guys? Everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Shanmu,
Yes, sir.
you can give permissions to the Dimitri from your administration login, right?
Yeah, only see if you're having access, those who are having access, they only can give access to others. Okay?
To others. Okay.
Yes, you should be able to,
Once.
you should have access
Okay,
to give
understood.
permissions to others. That's it.
Once go to Object Expert, please.
Yeah.
Here, if you see under logins, last one, that service
Okay.
account, actually that is service account.
Right.
How it is added here under logins?
Forget about this, the list of the people here, Sudhakar, as of now. Okay, forget here. I told you, right? You have to consider only few logins, administrator login. These three logins I have added manually. You can go to your SQL server, you can see the list. Okay. If you are handy, like you already installed SQL server, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Go to your SQL server security and check it who are all there in this logins list. Forget about the logins that you can see here. I manually added. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. You can, guys, you can, if you are having access to your SQL server, I mean to say, if it is available now, you can just go and check what and all, who are all there in this logins list. Okay. Okay. Chalo, guys, any other questions? If no questions, that's
Hi,
it
sir.
for now. Let's go for a break and okay, we'll be back after 15 minutes and we'll discuss other things. Okay.
Shanmugh, sir, 1 minute.
Anil, tell me.
Sir, without login in SQL Server, SQL SSMS, we need to find how many users are in there
No, that is not
in
possible.
the C drive or something.
No, that is not possible. Without connecting to the SQL SSMS, that is not at all possible. How many users are there in that database? You can do in one way. If you don't want to use SSMS, you can use SQL command, SQL CMD. In the command prompt, you can open and you can type one query. It will show you the list of users. You are getting my point, right? But still, if you don't have access to the SQL server, you cannot see the list. Okay. So outside, see files, I got your point. So why we can see the files and all, right? But why we cannot see the users? If you can able to open the files, we can see, but files level we cannot open. Okay, so without opening SSMS, if you want to see the list of users, means there is one way that you have to use SQL CMD and you have to connect to the SQL server in the command prompt, and then you can fire a query and then you can see using that query. Okay, right. Chalo guys, we'll be back after 15 minutes. Yeah, thank you.
So we are going for